Ingabuphi wesandwa sami kuyabanda pekhaya zobuya nini lavi wami ndiyagodola. Winter's creeping in Johannesburg. Very good morning. It's Penuel the Black Pen. Today I want to speak about a tweet that I wrote on the 26th of May that ended up getting a lot of backlash. I was surprised that it got backlash, but upon further reflection and reading the comments, I realized that, you know what, this might be beyond my own comprehension. So on the 26th of May, I tweeted, I don't support the removal of borders, but I always find it intriguing when South Africans tell Zimbabweans and other foreigners to go back to their home nation and fix their country. Yet a chunk of them refuse to leave the big cities to go fix their home provinces, towns, and villages. So I'm surprised, number one, because my first line is I don't support the removal of borders. And that's true. I understand that the borders are there. They're colonial borders, of course. They weren't created by Black Africans. They were created by the British. Of course, further reinforced by the Afrikaans government. And then, of course, even today, still endorsed by the Black African National Congress, ANC government. The borders are there. In the same way that I live in a complex and we have security, we have boom gates, we control who comes in and who goes out. In the same way that in my own house, I decide who comes in and who goes out. That's fine, I understand. We didn't choose them, but it's there. We do need to have a conversation sooner rather than later around the borders. Because in my opinion, Eswatini, Lesotho, we could argue parts of Mozambique, parts of Botswana, parts of Namibia. We need to incorporate them into South Africa. We need to incorporate them, but we need to do it in such a way that it makes sense to us. And number two, we need to make sure that there's some type of control between the places. On top of that, and this one is controversial and I understand, we need to look into some type of border system between the provinces. The provinces. Of course, we've got toll gates, so you can't travel freely between some of the provinces because toll fees are expensive. Besides the fact that fuel is getting very, very, very pricey. I wanted to say petrol and came out as fuel. Fuel is getting very, very expensive. So traveling is not as easy and as affordable as it used to be. I don't support the removal of borders. They're fine. Which means that if you're an illegal foreigner, you should be taken back. Which means that the South African government needs to fix our borders. Which means that immigration needs to be looked at. Which means that Home Affairs officials that are corrupt need to be punished. And we need to make sure that people are not getting ID cards and some type of permits and visas that they are not entitled to. But I always find it intriguing when South Africans, Black South Africans in particular, tell Zimbabweans and other foreigners to go back to their home nation and fix their country. Because Black South Africans are very big on Zimbabweans must go home and fix their country. Why are they here? Abantu base-Eswatini must go back to their home. Abantu base-Lesotho, abantu base-Mozambique, abantu base-Malawi, why are they here? Why don't they go back home and fix their country? Then they don't need to be here fighting us for our jobs. It's straightforward. It's like, why are you in my home just because your house has got rats and cockroaches and there's no food? Go fix your house, Baba. Go clean your house. It's your house, but you're coming here to come dirty my house. You're coming here to come and take my resources. Go fix your house. It's fair. Zimbabweans definitely, Zimbabweans in particular, Mozambicans of course, Malawians, abantu base-Lesotho, abantu base-Makhaya, abantu base-Eswatini, abantu base-Makhaya. Those places are very rural. But it's very fair. Go build your nation. And Zimbabweans in particular are celebrated for having the highest literacy rates on the continent. Zimbabweans are the most educated people on the continent. Not only that, Zimbabwe's got amazing agricultural land. And on top of that, they've got a lot of resources, gold in particular. A place like Mozambique has got a lot of gas reserves. And it's got a harbor that's very ripe for economic activity. So why are you guys here? Go back home and fix your issues. If the issues are political, fix them. That's very important. It's your country. It's your leadership. Sort it out. Yet, a chunk of them, being South Africans, refuse to leave the big cities to go fix their own provinces, towns, and villages. And this is what really, really upsets people. I'm going to see if I can find some of the comments. So my Twitter handle is @GodPenwell. And just as I spoke to you now about Zimbabweans and Malawians and people from Botswana and people going home, my question is, about the Eastern Cape is very poor. Limpopo as a province is poor, even though it's rich in agricultural land and in climate. The people of the Northwest or Rustenburg or Mahikeng, people of the Free State or Qwaqwa or Bloemfontein, those places, people of KwaZulu, especially in the northern parts, eNquthu, eMsinga, uTugela Fair or Pomeroy, even where I come from, in Newcastle, go Vryheid, Dandy, Ladysmith, Danhausen. Why are you not going back home? Abantu baseMpumalanga, of course, Mbombela and Malahling and those type of places, or Piet Retief, Secunda. Why are you not going home to fix your home province? Why are you guys migrating to Johannesburg, migrating to Richards Bay, migrating to Durban, migrating to Port Elizabeth, eGqeberha, East London, eMonti, migrating to Cape Town, eKapa? Why are you migrating there? Why are you not going back home? And just like the Zimbabweans, just like Amaswati, just like Abesotho, just like Amatswana, just like people of Namibia, of Mozambique, why are you not going back to your home province, going back to your hometown and your home village and developing it? The Zulu kingdom, the Zulu monarch owns almost 3 million hectares of land, KwaZulu. What are the Zulu people with their king doing to develop that land? In the same way we want the Zimbabweans, Nomnangagwa, to develop Zimbabwe. What are the Zulu people doing to develop their land so that Zulu people are not overpopulated here in Gauteng, in Johannesburg, being taxi owners and taxi drivers, being security guards, being domestic workers, maids? Why are you not going back home and developing your space? Why not? People were angry. People were angry. People were saying a South Africa and a country, a province and a country are not the same thing. I saw people attacked Helen Zille, and Helen Zille came and she responded on my tweet. What a decontextualized lie. South Africa's failures can be traced back to this kind of dishonesty. Because someone said, you remind me of your granny-in-law, Helen Zille, when she called fellow South Africans refugees in South Africa. And it's true. You can get upset as you want. People are economic migrants. Obviously, with colonization, we were forced by the British. They enforced a hard tax on black people. Black people didn't have money, of course. So then black people had to go and work in the mines and work in the factories and work in the farms to make some money to pay hard tax. We were forced to migrate economically. Today, we obviously do it of free will. Me, I'm from Newcastle, but I went to go and study in the Eastern Cape, and now I'm here in Gauteng, Johannesburg, Johannesburg. I'm here, coming to make some money. Migration, economic migration. Why could I not stay in Newcastle? Beautiful town in the north of KwaZulu. Why couldn't I stay there and develop there and be a chartered accountant there and be a banker there and ply my trade there? Why did I come here? And everyone else can be judged, especially the people that come here and live in squatter camps. My argument, of course, I've got skills. I'm educated. I've got degrees in accounting and economics and the business hub of Johannesburg and the auditing firms of Ernst & Young. They need my skills. When we talk about some of the foreigners that come here because we lack skills, we would look, if you're from Zimbabwe and you're a rocket scientist, you're an actuarial scientist, and you come here, we need you. We need your skills, of course. So my argument is that. But what about the rest of the people who are living in the shacks, in the squatter camps, and the informal settlements, that don't have jobs, that are begging, that get so desperate that they go into crime? They come and they become criminals here and they leave oodles of land back home, acres and hectares of land back home that they should be developing. People are very upset with me. Let me see some of the other comments. That's a very low argument. You are just foolishly promoting tribalism. You can't limit South Africans in their own country. And yet you guys want to limit Africans on their own continent because of British colonial borders. Roland gave a great response. I agree with that. We expect someone else to fix our problems. We only want the credit when the process is complete. One of the comments said something which is very true, which is South Africans, black South Africans, cheer South Africa because our white people did a better job of building our economy. People from the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, their white people didn't develop it that well. The same as the Ghanaians, the same as the Angolans. The same as the Zambians. That's why they come here, because our white people are better than your white people. The white people in Johannesburg, of course, with the mines. The white people in the Western Cape in Cape Town. The white people in Durban, and now the Indians, Amandia, in Durban. That's where black South Africans are constantly migrating. Black people will not migrate to a black city, to a black town, to a black neighborhood, where you find black schools, where black people are queuing to get their kids in the school. Black people are begging white people to let their kids into the schools, begging white people to get into their neighborhoods, begging white people to get into their companies, because black South Africans refuse to build for themselves. They are no different to other Africans. If you look at the states of the Eastern Cape, Free State, KwaZulu, Mpumalanga, Northwest, Limpopo, Northern Cape, even black people that live in the Western Cape, in the townships, where the Democratic Alliance is always being cheered for how beautiful Cape Town is. And then the same black people are like, yeah, but look at Khayelitsha, look at Kwanyanga, look at Kwalanga. And those are black spaces. What are the blacks in those spaces doing in those spaces? Why are you guys not developing them with your ANC, with your EFF, with your IFP, with your COPE? The Coloureds as well, who today have the Patriotic Alliance, thanks to Gayton McKenzie and Kenny Gnane. What are you guys doing in Lenasia, in Eldorado Park, in Mitchell's Plain, in the Cape Flats? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing to uplift your own communities, bro? You're out there looking at the videos and you're looking at the darkies. But as a brainer, what are you doing to uplift your area, my bro? You're busy complaining about everybody else. You complain about the DA. You complain about the ANC that they've forgotten about the Clearland, about the Coloureds. Places like Westbury, Coronation. But what are you guys doing, my bro, to uplift your own area? We're so quick to point fingers, and that same mindset is the reason why people cross borders. Yes, borders must not be removed. Yes, people mustn't come in and out easily. But it's the same mindset of they want a better life for themselves. Some of the comments were, yeah, but people from Limpopo are making money in Joburg and they're going home to build homes in Venda. People from KwaZulu are making money in Johannesburg, but they're building homes in Makhaya. The Zimbabweans are doing the same. The Mozambicans are doing the same. The Zambians are doing the same. The Malawians are doing the same. The Tswanas are doing the exact same thing. It's the same mindset. They come to Johannesburg, they come and they buy stuff from China City. And then they ship it in buses and trucks back home to go and develop their homes. It's the exact same mindset. But you guys are in denial because you've got your white Mlungu borders. No, the Mlungus said, stop crossing here. It's very sad for me to see the mindset of black South Africans. And I was just reminded of how narrow-minded and ignorant black South Africans actually are of the dynamics. Julius Malema and the EFF spoke about Africa, the different countries are like different rooms. Of course, we have dragged Julius Malema because himself, his EFF and other ministers and members of parliament, they live in gated communities. They have high security. They don't let anyone come in and out of their house or their estate. So it's very rich for them to be like, remove the borders. Because that influx of poor Africans, they're going to come and cramp the other poor people in townships, other poor people in squatter camps. They're not going to cramp the ministers and other white neighborhoods where there's neighborhood watch, where there's nice security companies there. It's very disingenuous. But he was trying to explain with different rooms. And some of my comments on my tweet was saying, but the provinces are just different rooms in the same house. And I'm saying, stop coming to the living room because it's clean. Meanwhile, you dirty the kitchen and you don't want to fix the kitchen. And who said that this house is yours? And at which point do we say that we are locals here in this country? At which point? Was it when the British created the borders? When the Cecil John Rhodes called places Rhodesia and we became South Africa? Is that when we were like, oh, whoever was here now, okay, we're locals here? Or at some point, did we have our own borders? Or was it when the people of Ntu, Abantu, when they came north from the rivers, when they came south from the rivers in the north? Is that when we became locals? Are the Khoi and the San people, the Bushmen, are they the only citizens of this country? And all of us are foreigners. And if anything, all of us are illegal foreigners. Because who decides on the legal and illegal? Is it these fancy British systems that the borders and the passports and the visa and the permit? Because black Africans and black South Africans didn't have that before. Yes, we had some type of control. You don't just in the land of abantu bakwamthetho or abantu bakanxumalo. You don't do that. You don't just go to Kamshweshwe or the people of Mutawung or the people of Kwena, the Mkwenas. You don't just get there and do what you want. They obviously will have, this is our land, you don't just come here. If you trespass, we will kill you, we will beat you, of course. But at which point we become illegal foreigners, and who decides and who dictates? You guys have been captured by these same laws, just like the Constitution. You guys feel like if the Constitution is changed, black people get their land back. You can get your land back without a Constitution. You can buy it, of course. You can lease it, of course. You can illegally occupy it and then fight to get that land. You can go and get that land and say, my ancestors used to live here. You can find ways. You can overthrow your same government. You forget the Constitution, forget the law. You can fight that. Your same politicians are breaking laws every day, be corrupt, allowing their friends to move in and out of the country, being involved in drug trade, in guns, stealing your tax money, working with certain funny people. We don't know what's going to happen with Cyril Ramaphosa at Eskom working with Glencore that was fined $1.5 billion recently for bribing almost all officials in all the countries they've worked in, but South Africa wasn't listed. And yet Cyril Ramaphosa sits was the chairman of one of their subsidiaries, and he helped Glencore provide coal to Eskom at inflated prices. There's corruption every day. Jacob Zuma was accused of corruption with the Guptas, giving the Guptas leeway, removing red tape, allowing them to get easy financing and funding that is meant for black South Africans. But he's been given to foreign Indian people. Working with so many people to bend and break the law. Ace Magashule, Didi Mabuza, the South African deputy president who is AWOL and always disappears when South Africa is under a crisis. Looting KwaZulu, Didi Mabuza, no way. Load shedding, Haibo Obu Didi Mabuza. COVID vaccines, Konje, who is Didi Mabuza? We've got a deputy president that is absent. Supra Mahumapilo in the Northwest. People that have been accused of corruption, people on the ground will tell you what these guys get up to. Those are your leaders. And then we, the idiot South African citizens, must respect the law and the Constitution that works hard to protect minority wealth. White predominantly, and now you've got some black people that are up there. The Ramaphosas and the Mutsipes, who are now minority wealth as well. And they defend their wealth no matter what it takes, which was the line at Glencore. Make money no matter what it takes. I disagree. People must learn to contribute to their own economy. If Zimbabweans don't build their own economy, then who's going to build it for them? Utanda M says that's exactly the point he's making. If people in villages and dysfunctional towns don't build the economy, who is going to build it for them? Stellenbosch is a small town in the Western Cape where white Afrikaners have decided to set up their head offices of all their businesses around the country. And they make sure that the capital flows to Stellenbosch, where they've built beautiful wine farms and they're wealthy. Stellenbosch, Camps Bay, Umhlanga, Sandton. Those are some of the controlled areas where blacks want to flock to because, like South Africa, those spaces are extremely wealthy. That's where the money is. That's where the whites are. That's where the blacks want to be. Blacks refuse to develop their own places. Mdantsane, KwaMashu, Imlazi, Emadadeni, Emountain, Alex, Tembisa, Soweto. You guys don't want to develop your own spaces. You want to constantly rush to the white space and be like, but it's our country. And other Africans are trying to say it's our continent. You're like, no, it's not. The white people put up borders. And they said, no, this is yours, Blackie. This is mine. And we've got the better whites. Stay away from our whites. Black people will never get it right until they unlock their minds and they understand that their destiny is in their own hands. And they begin coming together, collaborating, setting up stockfields, working the land, waking up, even if you've got a shovel, if you've got a fork, if you've got a plow, work the land. Don't wait for a tractor and funding and finance and infrastructure. You can build that. Our ancestors were able to work the land without money and white people. You have lost your minds and lost your marbles and lost your dignity, and you've become beggars of the system. That's why we have 50% of our population on grants. You guys have become orphans. You've become useless, pathetic excuses for human beings. that bash other black Africans that are just like you, that were just born on the wrong side of the white fence. And today you think you're superior because you have the better Mlungu. And yet you worship the Mlungu. You vote for his Manchingelane, his security guard that he controls like a puppet master. And you think you're a better being when you're not. And for me, just in closing, it was absolutely pathetic seeing the responses on my tweet. But I'm not surprised, because black South Africans will continue to blame everyone else but themselves for their rubbish existence and their poverty when they vote for corrupt black officials that are security guards for white minority wealth. And then they blame the whole world. They'll never blame the whites because they fear them. They fear white people. They are inferior. They suffer from an inferiority complex. They'll blame Pakistanis, Somalians, Ethiopians, even Nigerians. You'll blame everyone but yourself for your rubbish existence, because you refuse to buy from your own people. You refuse to work for your own people. You refuse to educate your own kids. You refuse to hold your chiefs and your kings accountable. You refuse to accept that you lost to a very small group of white people who took your land, who took your minds, gave you the law, gave you the Bible, and since then, you've never been able to get your minds back. And when Penal tries to unlock your minds, he becomes the next victim that you want to bash because you refuse to look into the mirror to find the real reason why your life is a mess. Penuel the Black Pen.